Hi everyone, good afternoon and welcome to your BetterGradesFast.com live online tutorial. It is my pleasure to serve you today. We'll now start our prayer. I politely ask if you're not comfortable with a Christian prayer, please lower your volume for the next 15 seconds. Heavenly Father, kindly direct me to meet each learner's needs. Please direct each learner to clearly understand all that is necessary for success. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, happy Monday. It's good to see you all. How are you doing today? All right, good. All right, so today we're doing grammar drills. I'm ready to have some fun. What about you? Perfect. In that case, let's start with our joke of the day. So today's joke of the day is brought to you by Nathan, and let's see what he has for us. Why did the cat get detention at school? Why did the cat get detention at school? Because he was a cheater. Nice one, Nathan. All right, Rochelle, what's your riddle? You can use your mic.
Miss, I gave you milk and I have a horn, but I'm not a cow. What am I?
I give you milk and I have a horn, but I'm not a cow. Sajida says a goat or a sheep.
Wrong.
Any other guesses, guys? All right, I think we give up. Rochelle, what is it?
A milk truck.
That's a good one. All right, thank you for that. All right, guys. So we're going to look at some grammar exercises today, right? They're from a few different practice tests. So it should be.
Miss,
Yeah, Rochelle?
are we going to do Kahoot as our revision cycle?
We will do a Kahoot in our next session, but today we're focusing just on the drill. Yeah? Sorry to disappoint, guys, but we want to do our drills seriously, right? And get all the time we need dedicated for this practice. Exactly, because Nathan says 10 more days, right? So we need to be super prepared. Okay, so let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, so as we know, in the grammar task, there is one error in each line. Your job is to point it out. So you want to circle it, and then we're writing the correct, well, basically the correction in the box provided. So first, it's always good to read your entire passage before you start looking at what's wrong, because it's going to help you kind of put everything into context, right? So let's look at it. The golds were neither hidden behind the ancient building or under the staircase. I found mines under the heart-shaped rock. I could have gave it to my brother Manuel, but I thought that he was too young for it because he usually behaves very immature. All right, so let's look at the first line, right? And let's see what's going on. What do you think is wrong in that first line? The goals were neither hidden behind the. Okay, so neither is actually correct because the person actually found the gold under a rock, right? So the ancient building or under the staircase, that's not where the gold was. Right, good job, Nathan. So we actually do not have a plural form of gold, right? So let me ask someone to be my helper today. Give me a second. Let me enable you guys. All right. So, okay, Nathan volunteered first. And Sajida, you can do it for the next one, okay? So Nathan, I'd like you to please draw a circle where the grammar error is. Nathan's like, oh no, let Sajida do it. All right, so Sajida, you can go ahead, circle the error, and give me the correction in the box. And yes, guys, I know I have a million tabs open. It's just how my browser always looks. Right? So we'd actually be circling the two words. So goals were, because we need to have that subject verb agreement, right? So the goal was. So we've identified our first error, which was it was kind of a double error. So the first error was that gold is not supposed to be pluralized. We do not ever have S at the end of gold. And the second error was that the subject and verb needed to agree. So what about the second line? Ancient building or under the staircase. So if you look at the first line, it's going to help you figure it out. So Sajida says instead of or, we need no. And why do we need no? Because in the first line, we were given neither. And neither will always go with no. All right, thank you, assistant. The no's are just piling up on top each other. Okay, so I found mines under the heart-shaped rock. There's a big red flag in this one. Good, so mines to mine, right? The mines is not a word when we're talking about pronouns, right? However, if you're talking about bombs, like mines where you can step on and they explode as a noun, that's fine. But if we're considering as pronouns, mines should never ever appear in your writing, right? Good job, guys. What about 16? I could have gave it to my brother Manuel. All right, so Sajida has it. Let's see if anyone else can get it. Right, so we have that helping verb have. So let me just point it out here. We have the helping verb have. And when we have, it should always be followed by the past participle, right? Could have given. Given is our past participle. Give is just the simple past. But we are trying to form a specific tense here. What's the tense that uses the have plus the past participle? Do you guys remember the name of the tense? Beautiful, Sajida, the past perfect. So we know that's what they want here. So we say, I could have given. You don't ever use have and your simple past tense. It just doesn't work, right? Right, great job, guys. What about 17? We actually looked at this on Friday in our Kahoot. The wrong to, right? That to, T-O, that's a preposition that indicates direction or location. But when you're making a comparison, right? Something being too big, your brother being too young, we have T-O-O, right? And what about number 18? He usually behaves very immature. Right, so usual is sounding a little bit odd there because it's modifying or describing our verb, right? Our verb is behaves. He usually. So that usual has to now be transformed into an adverb, right? Usual is an adjective in the form that it is in right now. And an adjective cannot modify or describe a verb. So there you have it, guys. How are we feeling about this task? Was it okay? Was it a little bit tricky? All right, so I'll just leave it up for a few seconds for you guys if you need to take a screenshot or anything. And then in about 20 seconds, we'll proceed with another grammar task. So just remember the key things that came out of this one. You must recognize what nouns have a plural that end in S, right? So you must be aware of your countable and uncountable nouns, like gold is uncountable. If you have neither, it should be followed with nor. Either goes with or. Minds is not, it should not exist when we're talking about pronouns. We should also be very wary of the tenses and how they're formed. We know that have should not go with your simple past tense. Have is always followed by the past participle. Then we looked at to, that was an example of your homophone pairs. And then you had to recognize that usual had to be converted to an adverb because it modified that verb behaves. All right, so can we move on, guys? I saw quite a few assistants on the document drawing. So if anyone would like a chance to do the corrections and stuff, you can let me know in the chat, right? So let's look at this one. The boys had forgot their way out of the park. They get lost camping in the forest. Neither their parents nor the park guide were aware of their exact location. One of the boys saw a group of monkeys overhead. These animals were amazing intelligent. They led the boys out, even if the boys were strangers to them. Okay. All right, so who's going to be my assistant for this one? Okay, whoever drew the circle, I guess. All right, so the boys had forgot. So this is basically what we just spoke about, right? Had or have should be followed by your past participle. Forgot is just the simple past, so it's not going to mix well, right? So the boys had forgotten their way out of the park. Oh my gosh, guys, what's going on there? They get lost camping in the forest. So yes, get is incorrect. And we should change that to got because our tense needs to agree. We're looking at the past perfect in the first line. So we're keeping that trend of the past tense, right? Good job. So neither their parents nor the park guide were aware of their exact location. So this is an example of subject-verb agreement, right? When we have neither nor, so let me just, we have neither and then we have nor. The rule tells us that the subject closest to the verb is going to be the one that agrees. And as Sajida has pointed out for us in this very nice pink, the one closest is the park guide, and that is singular. So we'll need a singular verb to complement it. So we'll change were to was. What about number 16? That one is a little bit trickier. One of the boys saw a group of monkeys overhead. What's wrong there? Good. A group of monkeys. What do we call a collection of monkeys? What's the collective noun for that? Right. A troop. Okay, these animals were amazing, intelligent. They led the. What's our error? Right, so amazingly intelligent. Excellent job. And they let the boys out, even if the boys were strangers to them. They let the boys out, even if the boys were strangers to them. Does that make sense? Right, so if is not fitting in very well there. Good, so we want to replace if with though. They let the boys out, even though the boys were strangers to them. Basically saying, despite the fact that the boys were strangers, they let them out. If is giving it a bit of a different meaning. It's kind of a conditional meaning, and that's not what we're going for here. All right, so guys, you all are so quick on the draw. You're doing really, really well. I'm very, very impressed. I think we're in good standing so far. All right, so to eliminate having duplicates of the same answer, right, because it will get a little bit messy, we're delegating just one person to do the edits, okay? So let me know who'd like to do the next one. Okay, so Nathan will be the only one on the document for the next task. All right, so let's look at the skills that were tested on this one, guys. So we had the same tense. We had to be wary of the tense, how it's formed. Again, our tense had to match here. Then we had a little bit of subject-verb agreement here. We also have to be aware of the names of our collective nouns, right? Again, we had to create a adverb. Remember, adverbs not only modify nouns, right? They can modify other adverbs and even adjectives. So I know you're seeing intelligent and you're probably a little bit confused. You're like, okay, intelligent is an adjective. But remember, an adverb is just very versatile. It can modify an adjective as well. And then we had to replace if with a more appropriate word. In this case, we used that conjunction though, even though, right? We don't say even if in this case. All right, guys, so can we move on to the next task? Yeah? All right, I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so let's look at another one. Remember, Nathan is going to be drawing for us, right? So let's read it again. Mr. Paul is the man who the police chased near the park. The officers believe that he had break into the store. When the store owner called the police, they responded immediately. The cautiously thief quickly escaped in the back window. The officers are asking anyone who's seen Mr. Paul to call them. Reading that was so hard for me, guys. Oh my gosh. The amount of errors. Okay, so let's look at it. So Sajida and Nathan, excellent job. We will change who to whom in the first one. So Nathan, you can go ahead and circle who and place the correction in the box for us, please. Right, so we use whom when we are referring to the object of the sentence. Now, the subject of the sentence does not always appear at the beginning, right? And we know that. So we really need to analyze our sentence and figure out who is the doer of the action and who is receiving the action. So the police, that's our subject. But the police chased who? The police chased Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul is our object. And because we're using a relative pronoun to refer to Mr. Paul, who is the object of our sentence, we will not use who, but we'll use instead whom. Right, guys? Great job. What about number 14? The officers believe he had break into. Oh my gosh. So look at your tense. Had break? No, right? Had plus past participle. The past participle is broken, right? So remember, we have had or have plus your past participle. If you have, that means it is present perfect. If you have had, that means it is past perfect, right? And both of them will go with the past participle. So if you have had there, you should not follow it with just your regular present tense, which is break. It just doesn't work, right? Okay, so Nathan, go ahead and circle for us and give me the correction, which is broken. And while he does that, guys, let's look at number 15. When the store owner called the police. Right? When the store owner called the police, that tense is not meshing well with our previous sentences, right? We can't have a sentence in the past and then you're talking about the same occurrence and you change to present tense. It just doesn't work like that. So when the store owner called the police, right? So Nathan, go ahead and circle call for us. And we're going to make the past tense, which is called. They responded immediately. The cautiously thief quickly. Something's wrong there. Something's really wrong there. Right? So, as Sajida says, thief is a noun. Cautiously is trying to describe the thief, but thief is a noun. Cautiously is an adverb. So we need to have the adjective form of cautiously, which is what, guys? All right, so Nathan, can you go ahead and circle cautiously and put the word cautious for us? Remember, guys, when we have adjectives, sometimes we can convert them to adverbs by adding ly, such as cautious. But if we want to change our adverb to an adjective, all we need to do is remove the ly, and we are left with the word cautious. Okay, so just waiting for you there, Nathan. Cautious, excellent. What about 17? Escaped in the back window. The officers are asking, can you escape in a window? I wouldn't say out. I wouldn't say he escaped out the back window. Instead, I would say through, right? So in is an incorrect preposition there. It should not be there. Instead, we should use through. Doesn't that make more sense? You can go through a window. You can't go in a window. It may sound like out should be correct because that's how we speak in Trinidad, but the actual proper English that we should be using is through. He escaped through the window, not out the window. All right, final one. The officers are asking anyone who see Mr. Paul to call them. The officers are asking anyone who see Mr. Paul to call them. So it's actually not so, right? So if we look at it, if we look at the entire paragraph again, right, we see that Mr. Paul is a man whom the police chased near the park, and then we were told that he had broken into the store. When the store owner called the police, they responded, and then he escaped. But now we're back in the present, and we're saying that if anyone sees Mr. Paul, to call the police, right? But we're having a little bit of an issue because we have the incorrect subject-verb agreement. So we do not say anyone who see. Anyone is an indefinite pronoun that will always take your singular verb. And the singular form of see will be sees. Right? The officers are asking anyone who sees Mr. Paul to call them. So all of these things were completed in the past, right? But because we have that word, the officers are asking, we know that this is a continuous action and it's in the present. So it's important that you look at the tense that's used beforehand. So this are asking, that would have been the big clue that would help you realize, yes, we're still in the present, but something is a little bit off with my subject-verb agreement. Anyone takes the singular, which will be sees. All right, guys, and that is that task. How do we feel so far about the 3 that we have completed? I know this last one, number 18, was a little bit tricky. But again, if you have a verb present in the same sentence, especially like this, where you already know, hey, we had an error in this line before. The error was the preposition here. So the officers are asking, that's correct. Are is present, asking is continuous, so present continuous. So then we will have present as well because we need to keep the tense. So anyone who sees. I know that confused a lot of people, but I want you to tell me if that's okay, guys. All right, great. So can we move on and try another one? Remember, we're drilling these grammar tasks, right? So we're going to encounter different grammatical errors. And by identifying them and talking about them, it's going to help us understand why they needed corrections. It also provides a little bit of a revision, bit of a crash course, if you will. Right? So what skills do we look at in this one? We looked at use of relative pronoun, who versus whom. So we have to be able to identify the object and subject of your sentence. Again, we had another instance where we had to correct the tense because we needed the past participle. Notice how often this one is coming up, guys. Then we had call, we had to also go to called, so same tense. Adverb went to adjective and cautiously. Then we had to change that inappropriate preposition. In went to through. And then we looked at the subject verb agreement with anyone and sees. So let's look at one more. I think we have the time for one last task. Okay. So this one is about animals. I think that's a nice place to end. So some animals make best pets than others. Children alone should not be responsible for caring for pets. It's the parents which are responsible for helping to choose suitable pets. Birds and fishes makes more suitable pets than cats and dogs. The parents, along with the child, must care for it. Parents must ensure that they are feeded and cleaned. All right, so Nathan doesn't want to do it anymore. Who would like to help me on this one? All right, Sajida, it's all yours. So number 13, what's our issue there? Some animals make best pets than others. Right, so we need better, right? Because we're making two comparisons, some animals versus other animals. So we do not need best, we use the comparative form better. Some animals make better pets than others. Great. Children alone should not be responsible for caring for pets. It's the parents. Right? So it's is our imposter, right? And we talked about it's versus it apostrophe s before. This it's relates to possession, right? Saying something belongs to something or someone. But we need it apostrophe s because that really is saying it is. So substitute it is and see if it makes sense. It is the parents which are responsible for helping to choose suitable pets. Yes, that sounds great. What about 15? So Sajida has identified it. Let's see if anyone else can get it. What's wrong in line 15? It's the parents which are responsible for helping to choose suitable pets. What's wrong there? So again, we have a relative pronoun which, and we know that which isn't really used to refer to people, right? Mostly objects and places. But we have parents who are people. So we could actually substitute which with who. Who and whom relate to persons. We use who when we are referring to the subject of the sentence, and parents is indeed the subject, right? We could have also substituted it with that, right? So that is also used sometimes to talk about persons. So if you had who or if you had that, they would both get you the mark. But which is definitely not used for persons ever, right? If you had whom, you would not get the mark either, because whom refers to the object of your sentence. In this case, the parents are the subject, so it will not work. So that's why we choose who. Right? So Sajida, you can put a dash and, well, a slash next to who and include that as well, because that's an acceptable response too. Thank you. Right, let's look at 16. Birds and fishes makes more suitable pets than cats and. It's wrong here. Birds and fishes makes? I don't think so. Birds and fishes, plural. So we need a plural verb. And we know the plural verb does not have the S at the end. So birds and fishes together will form our plural subject. Plural subject takes a plural verb. All right, Sajida, you want to go ahead and fill in that blank? Right? Thank you. The parents, along with the child, must care for it. Something isn't agreeing. What is it? So in the sentence before, we said birds and fishes make more suitable pets than cats and dogs. The parents, along with the child, must care for it. So it is not the correct pronoun, right? Because we're referring to birds and fishes. So we need a plural pronoun. So we'll substitute it for them. We can leave must as it is, right? Because that's true. The parents and the child must care for the pet. It's not really a suggestion, it's more something that you're obligated to do, so that's fine. But we needed to change our pronoun agreement. And then lastly, we have parents must ensure that they are feeded and cleaned. Feeded and cleaned, oh my gosh. Feeded is not a word, guys. What is the past tense of the verb feed? Fed. Excellent. So parents must ensure that they are fed and cleaned. And that's it, guys. That's your entire grammar section. Look how easy that was. What were the skills that we looked at here? For the first one, we looked at knowing the difference between your comparative and your superlative forms of comparison. Then we had to know the difference between its and its. Notice a lot of the homophone pairs are coming up, right? So we had two and two, and then we had its and its. The relative pronouns are coming up as well. It's the parents who or that are responsible. So you need to know which relative pronouns will relate to what type of noun or pronoun, right? Birds and fishes make, so again, subject verb agreement. The parents along with the child must care for them. So your pronoun number should agree. Parents must ensure that they are fed and cleaned. We need to know the plural of irregular verbs as well as the past tense of irregular verbs as well as the past tense of your regular verbs, right? We know for regular verbs they end in ed, but for the irregular verbs they may look different than the root verb. All right, guys, so I am going to just send out a very, very brief poll. I want you guys to tell me if you're feeling confused about anything we looked at today. All right, so we have about 50% of responders. Let's get some more responses to the poll, guys, before we end. Caleb, do you have a question or a comment?
Yes. Did you guys play Kahoot already, or are
No,
you
we
not?
didn't play any Kahoot today. We just went straight into our grammar drill.
Oh, because I kind of wanted to play some Kahoot.
Well, we will do Kahoot on Wednesday, and I'm doing a Kahoot for my essay writing class, which you guys do not need to attend, but you can if you want.
For some reason, my mom wants me to attend the classes that wants me to attend all classes, even the ones that I don't need to attend to.
That's fine. Just don't get too confused because remember, we're focusing on report writing, not essay writing for SCA. All right, guys, so I'm going to end the poll. Thanks for the responses. Everyone seems to be doing just fine. And I really must commend you guys. You've done very, very well. Your performance has been excellent today.
Woohoo!
All right, guys, so we're going to end here. Right, so we have come to the end of this tutorial. It was a pleasure serving you all today.
Excuse me, miss.
Hi, Rochelle.
We didn't do any writing today. How come?
We're doing the essay writing at 5:30, Rochelle.
Okay, miss.
All right, guys, so we're ending this tutorial. We've come to the end. Please take a minute to leave some feedback. Let us know how we can improve to better serve you. And thanks for choosing BetterGradesFast.com. Do have a blessed day. And our essay writing class will begin in 1 minute, right? So I'll see you guys All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your BetterGradesFast.com live online tutorial. It's my pleasure to serve you today. All right, so we're going to first get into our prayer. I politely ask if you're not comfortable with a Christian prayer, please turn your volume down for the next 15 seconds. Heavenly Father, kindly direct me to meet each learner's needs. Please direct each learner to clearly understand all that is necessary for success. In Jesus' name, amen. Okie dokes, guys. So welcome back to essay writing. Who is ready to have some fun today? All right, great. So in that case, let's start with our joke of the day. Today's joke of the day was brought to you by Nuria. All right, guys, this is a good one. What was the math teacher's favorite dessert? What was the math teacher's favorite dessert? Pie. Oh, good one, Nuri. All right, Rochelle, what's your riddle? You can use your mic.
Miss, what fruit can you never cheer up?
What fruit can you never cheer up? Any guesses, guys?
A cherry?
Wrong.
A pear?
Nuri says blueberry.
She's correct.
Oh, I get it because the blueberry is blue and blue means sad and you can't cheer it up.
Nice
Okay,
one.
I get it. I understand now.
All right, guys, so we have been talking and looking at descriptive writing and figurative language for quite some time now. And today we're going to look at our last session on descriptive writing. And we're going to do that in the form of our Kahoot game. Right, so this is the game pin that I want you guys to enter. And we are looking at descriptive writing. We're looking at quite a few rounds, and it's going to be a fun one. So go to kahoot.it, enter your game pin, pick a fun nickname, and let's get this thing started. Dora. Yeah, I can do a great Dora impression. Hola, soy Dora. All right, we have 5 players so far. Let's get some more. Gee, I wonder who Fire Dragon is.
Probably me.
You
know, I wasn't
What? I didn't know that.
I wasn't sure which nickname I wanted to do. When I saw the nickname Dora, I did almost want to do Boots.
That's cute.
Wait, who? SpongeBob? Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, SpongeBob, where is your buddy pal Patrick?
Oh yes, where's Patrick? Where's Patrick?
It'd be really funny if everyone else just came in like Mr. Krabs.
No,
Patrick,
miss,
Plankton.
miss, excuse me, miss?
Yeah, Caleb?
Thanos Shrek? What? It's ogre now. Wait,
Oh my god.
excuse me, miss, can you delete my nickname? Because I want to change my nickname to Patrick. So SpongeBob won't be lonely.
Aw. Okay.
Don't start yet, I'm almost in. Wait, how do you spell Patrick?
Pat and Rick, Caleb.
P-A-T
R-I-C-K.
R-I-C-K.
Alright guys, time is going. We need to start this thing.
Alright, SpongeBob, you're not alone. It is me, Patrick Starfish.
Oh, your buddy pal.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have 8 players. Let's go.
Oh god. Thanos Shrek is about to wreck us. It's about to destroy us, I mean.
Alright, let's go guys. 20 seconds on the clock. Alright, good. So when we are writing descriptively, we want to use descriptive words like adjectives and adverbs because they're going to help us create descriptive, vivid images in the reader's minds. Alright, so this is our scoreboard as of round 1. Let's go to round 2. Alright, so most of us got it. Remember, we're looking at the word that describes how an action is done, right? Not describing an action or not saying a word that is an action, but a word describing an action. In other words, what is describing a verb? And we know that's an adverb. So as I said before, adjectives and adverbs are very useful in your descriptive writing. Right, so this is, wow, Dora went up 5 places. Excellent. Let's go again, guys. Which of the following is not true? Right, so descriptions should not be overdone to the point where you're confusing your reader, right? It's great to have a lot of detail and a lot of description, but if there's too much, it becomes a little bit too overwhelming and confusing for your reader, and it does the exact opposite of what you're trying to do. We don't want that. All right, let's go to round 4. Looking for a simile.
Wait, excuse me, miss?
Yeah?
How many? Wait, there are 12 people in total?
Yeah.
What? I thought you said that. I thought when we started it, there were not 8 people.
Yeah, I guess some people joined late. Alright, so excellent, guys. You all got this one. He was as loud as a lion. Remember, we use like or as. And similes are figures of speech, which we can also use to spice up our writing. Great job. Let's go again. Alright, guys. So when you're trying to write something descriptive to appeal to the reader's sense of smell, what you're going to be describing is not their nose or the nostrils, but rather the scent, because that will appeal to your sense of smell. Right, we are halfway there. Let's go again. Okay, so we want to be a little bit more descriptive than saying yellow, blue, and stripy, right? Instead of saying yellow and blue, we can say bright and colorful, and that appeals to sight. If we say feathered, it appeals to sight and also appeals to touch. You can almost feel that feather when you are looking at this bright, colorful, feathered phrase. So good job, guys. Lano Shrek is now on top, followed very closely by a lone god. Very cool name, by the way. All right, let's go again. What's personification? Right, so personification is where you personify or give human qualities to an inanimate object, or sometimes even animals, right? And it's another figure of speech, just like our simile, metaphor, hyperbole, etc. Yeah, I should know this one by heart. I'm always drilling this into your skulls. How many senses should you appeal to? Right, so we have 5 senses that we should appeal to: sight, smell, touch, taste, and sound. Whoa, scoreboard changed. Okay, so we have 2 more rounds. Let's go again. What's not an adverb here? Right, so shouting is not an adverb, it's just a verb, it's an action that is going on right now, so it's a continuous action. We know that through the ing, but quickly, loudly, and quietly can all describe actions, how they are being done. So they are adverbs of manner. Whoa, Squidward. We have the whole Bikini Bottom crew here. All right.
We're missing Mr. Krabs and Sandy.
I know. All right.
And
So last one. What's the metaphor here? Look at them carefully. All right. So majority of responses were correct. Blue and yellow were both instances of simile. Remember, the metaphor uses comparison, saying one thing is the other thing. Simile will use like or as, and green wasn't even any sort of figure of speech. It's just saying that you put a sheep costume on a wolf, right? So let's see our podium. In third place, we have Lone God. Good job, Lone God. Second, we have Luffy. Great job. And in first place, who do we have? We have Thanos Shrek. Runners up were Squidward and Kitty.
oh great. Now Thanos, I told you. Thanos,
Where's Fiona?
I just heard Fiona.
great. Now, great. I told you. Thanos Shrek destroyed us.
Well, in honor of Thanos Shrek, I'm going to play this. All right. Well played, guys. Really, really good job. That was a lot of fun. I love
Yes.
the SpongeBob names. Okay, so guys, as I said, today we are concluding our discussion on descriptive writing, right? So let's look at some mistakes to avoid when we're writing a descriptive essay. Okay, so there are a lot of common mistakes that are made, and we actually looked at a couple in our last Monday class. We said that we need to avoid dead words. Speaking of dead, this marker seems to be quite dead, right? So we avoid dead words, those words that are so overused that they're not interesting anymore, like big, small, good, bad. We can do a lot better than these basic words, right? And in doing so, we will show our reader that we have a nice, impressive vocabulary. We also want to avoid using long strings of adjectives. Long strings of adjectives can actually be doing a lot more harm for your writing than good. For example, if you are writing about, let's say, a strange man, we can say the man was strange, odd, eccentric, bizarre, and you can go on and on and on and on, right? And that's just saying the same thing over and over. Avoid using your long strings of adjectives because that's just going to seem like you're rambling and you don't know what you're talking about. So instead of saying all of that, you can just describe his behavior, which brings me to my next point. You want to show instead of tell. So for example, you don't want to be too literal. Don't spell out everything. Unless you're spelling out words, then yes, spell out your actual words. But in terms of literal writing, if I want to talk about how hot the day is, I could say something like, it is an extremely hot day. And this is an instance of telling. But if I want to show that it was an extremely hot day, I can probably be a bit more descriptive. And I can talk about beads of perspiration dripping down my face. I could talk about the sweltering heat. I could talk about what, guys? How else can I show that it's a very hot day? Help me out. I can be drenched in sweat, right? I can be fanning myself profusely, right? So instead of coming outright and saying, yeah, day was really hot, you can talk about all of these different things that are going to appeal to the reader's senses a lot more. Beads of perspiration dripping down your face, you can almost feel that, right? Sweltering heat, you can feel the intensity of the heat. Drenched in sweat, you can feel that heaviness of that sweat on your body. As opposed to just saying it's a hot day and just telling the reader, okay, this is how it was. You guys understand? You follow?
Yes.
All right, great. So we are going to practice writing descriptively a bit, right? Just give me 1 second. Right, so I want to put up a prompt for you guys. Oh, my last error is to avoid. Can I move this page, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my last error is to avoid appealing to only your sense of sight. If you guys remember, we spoke a lot about appealing to the 5 senses, not just sight. Because if you're only appealing to sight, it's not going to give your reader a very thorough experience. Okay?
Excuse me, Miss.
Caleb, yeah?
Can you bring up that last page? I didn't get to take a screenshot.
Sure.
Okay. Let me just take one screenshot.
Are you done, Caleb?
Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, thanks, Rochelle.
Okay, so can you push it up so I can see the last word? Thanks. Okay.
Right, guys. So
Okay, you can switch it. You can switch
okay,
it.
great. So we're going to do a little bit of a exercise, right? So I'm going to write a sentence. So we talked about showing rather than telling. So I'm writing a sentence where we are showing, and I want you guys to give me a sentence where it's actually telling. So you're not being so obvious with the sentence. So we looked at it's a very hot day. I want you to try. It was.
Mm. What?
I want you to try. It was a very windy day. So do not be so literal, but instead appeal to the reader's senses. The reader will be me. Sorry, this is supposed to be tell. So you're supposed to show me that it was a windy day. Sorry about the mix-up, guys. Don't just tell me it was windy. Show me with your words. Do you guys understand the exercise? Let me know in the chat, guys. Do we understand what we're doing? Take this idea that it's a very windy day and expand on it for me. Show me instead of telling me, right? So, guys, I will be waiting for your lovely sentences in the chat. And I'll give you 2 minutes. So I'll give you guys an example. So we're being very descriptive, right? We can use things like simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole. You can use your adverbs, your adjectives, be more descriptive. Come on, guys, I have 1 more minute for this activity. All right, so we have the breeze tore through the branches, right? I had to hold on to my hat because it was really windy, right? Okay, so you guys don't like this one too much. All right, so we will switch to another topic, right? What kind of pizza do you guys like? Are you all a pineapple on pizza group of students? Yes, Michelle.
Yes, could you put back that paper?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't finished.
All right. Caleb, what's your favorite type of pizza?
Pepperoni.
Nice. So, I want you to tell me that your favorite type of pizza is pepperoni, guys, or whichever type of pizza you like the most, without just telling me this sentence. So, do not give me this sentence. Instead, describe your type of pizza in terms of sight, smell, sound, taste, and touch.
But pizza doesn't have a sound. You can't listen to pizza.
What about the sound of the box as you open it, or the sound as you take a bite? You can get
No,
creative.
I don't normally hear myself take a bite of pizza.
Okay, if you think sound is a little bit too hard to do, try the others. And then this goes for everyone, okay? I want to see a lot of pizza sentences in the chat. Get me hungry, guys. You know you love to tease me about KFC. So this is your invitation to do the same about pizza.
Miss, how do you spell delicious?
I'll write it for you.
Okay.
Delicious.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so the pepperoni smells delicious. What if we said, as I bit into the pizza, there was a burst of explosion? There was a burst of explosive flavors on my tongue, and my taste buds danced joyously. Doesn't that sound a lot better than just saying the pizza was really good?
No.
Yeah, it's gonna appeal to your reader a lot more if you actually appeal to their sense of taste.
But
You can
why
talk
is
about,
that important?
because it's gonna be really boring if you're just using really basic words. No one is gonna want to read your essay. So you have to be very creative. Hence why it's called creative writing. Okay, so
That,
Rochelle says, my favorite pizza is meat lovers pizza. Ooh,
that
nice.
sounds really long.
Sounds really good. It's very yummy and it's small, so delicious. I just want to hold on to it. Look at how beautiful it is in the box. Guys, that reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where they were delivering pizzas. And then SpongeBob and Squidward opened the box and they were just looking at the pizza because they were hungry. Exactly. Bryson knows what's up.
And then SpongeBob wouldn't allow Squidward to have the pizza, and then and then SpongeBob started running away, and then Squidward chased him.
Exactly. All right, so Joshua, good job. Pepperoni pizza with its cheesy crust, meaty smell, and the oily feel of a slice is very tasty. Beautiful, Joshua. I can definitely see that pizza that you're talking about in my mind as I read that, and that's what we want when we are talking about descriptions. Yes, Rochelle.
You're making me very hungry.
I know, I'm making myself really hungry too. Right? And Leanne, good job as well. As the scent entered my nostrils, I now knew that my mom had purchased my favorite pizza, pepperoni. Lovely. So you got the scent before the visuals hit you, and you knew what was up by just the smell. Excellent. So there are a lot of different ways that we can create descriptions for any single thing that we want to describe. And what we shared today was the not to list. So to not only appeal to sight, we have 5 senses. So we want to appeal to most of them if we can't appeal to all. We do not want to use dead words. So if you're talking about food, try to not say that it tastes good, or it's yummy, or it's delicious. Nothing's wrong with that, but it's a little bit bland and we could do a little bit better than that. So you can talk about how a pizza makes you feel as you bite into it, or the smell of it, right? Or the sight of it, even. So avoid using those dead words. Avoid using your long strings of adjectives because it's gonna just make things winded and no one wants to read the same thing over and over again, just with different words. And remember, we want to show instead of tell. So don't tell me what your favorite type of pizza is and that's it. Get into the description. Nice. So Caleb says, when I finish eating my pepperoni pizza slices, it makes me want to have more. I
That
think
is
we can
exactly what I do.
I think we can all relate to that. All right, guys. So that is it for our figurative writing slash descriptive writing. Next Monday, we're probably going to look at a different type of essay format. But for now, we will end here. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, miss, I have one question.
Is it Shrek related, Caleb?
Huh?
Is it Shrek related?
No. It's not
Doesn't sound very convincing.
Are you ready for the pizza bomb?
Indeed. All right, guys. So we had a lot of fun today. We talked about pizza and we all got hungry, but we've come to the end of this tutorial. It was a pleasure serving you. Please take a minute to fill in the quality control questions that will appear when the meeting ends. Tell us what you'd like us to do differently and how we can improve to better serve you. Thanks for choosing BetterGradesFast.com. Do have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I think you all have math now, so enjoy that class. But I am out, so bye, guys. I'll see you.